We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
Oh, yeah, baby, like a veal Marcella out there at the Big Cheese. It's so good, yes, and so is this NIL and recruiting report brought to you by the Big Cheese, 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, just a couple blocks away from the University of Miami, and the walls are like a University of Miami Hall of Fame. We'll be broadcasting from there in October. We'll have a bunch of prizes and all kinds of stuff. So please join us. 40 years, man, the Big Cheese. How you doing, Manny? You doing good?
Doing good, getting ready to drive up this afternoon. I'm driving up with my old Miami Herald teammate, Susan Miller-Degnan. She's going to be coming out of retirement for the game this weekend to write a couple sidebars for the Miami Herald, and we're going to drive up together and reminisce about the 20 years we worked together.
That is awesome. That's fantastic. So Susan coming out of retirement, that's great. Damn, she picked a hell of a game to come out of retirement. That is good. Sure. We've talked about this, right? And I was having some fun with it at the beginning of the show today. And I said, "Hey, man, you know, the recruiting's been great, and you're improving the facilities, and you got the NIL program going, and all of, and it's no longer about the U. It's about the W.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. And you've got all you need now. You've got what no coach has ever had. Everything you need to succeed. Every resource that most coaches never had, you have it. So now, in order for you to maintain this beautiful ship sailing now, trying to come out of government cut, and you're headed out into the Atlantic Ocean, well, you got to start winning, bro, because winning is the only thing that's going to allow you to feed that recruiting and the NIL. And what this report is all about, it won't be nearly as impactful if you're not winning, because then the elite players won't be considering, like, you know, I saw the Heat and they signed Burks, right? And people are like, oh, you know, okay, whatever. And then Lonnie Walker was sitting out there, and he went and signed with Boston. And people are like, man, why didn't you go after Lonnie Walker, right? Because you'd probably rather have Lonnie Walker over Alec Burks or maybe another guy you have on your team, but you were at your limit. Or did Lonnie Walker say, yeah, no, I don't really, you know, Miami's not that sexy anymore.
Right.
And, you know, that's kind of happened to the Heat now, that they're not as successful as they used to be. They don't recruit stars anymore unless it's Wade recruiting a star for you. You know that?
Yeah.
It's kind of turned the other way, because you're no longer that franchise you've been in the past. And Miami hasn't been what they've been in the past. In order for them to get there, brother, it starts on Saturday. You got to win these big ass games, these nationally televised games, this SEC matchup. I know it's not the best of the SEC, but you got to find a way to continue that recruiting pipeline by winning.
Yeah, and the reality is there's going to be a lot of players in attendance, guys that Miami's interested in, guys that are committed to other schools right now that they want, guys that are in the 2026 class that are undecided. And the one thing I'll tell you is the players will tell you what matters ultimately most is the relationships that they have with the coaches, right? Who's recruiting them to that school. But when you go to a game like this and you're in the moment and you're in the swamp and you're there for a rivalry game like this, or you're, you know, in Tallahassee when the Canes play up there, or the Seminoles are here and you're here at Hard Rock Stadium, those moments stick with these kids. They do, those in-game moments. And so to me, you know, final decisions may not be predicated on what happens in a head-to-head matchup between the Canes and Gators, but I guarantee you it affects the thinking of guys long term. Do I want to come back and play for Miami, right? Even if I pick another school or sign another school, when I get in the transfer portal, when you sit there and you have to make a decision, do you think, oh man, I was there that day, they got their asses handed to them by the Gators in the swamp, or I was there that day, Florida State embarrassed them, or so I think all of that does matter somewhat when it comes to making decisions, and it comes to uh, deciding where you want to go. And so it's absolutely important. This game is absolutely important for all of those reasons.
Yeah, and when you're saying that all the recruits that are going to be there, these are the moments, man. You got to shine and
Mm-hmm.
find a way to win, so you can have the Travis Hunters come to your team because, man, I'm watching that kid last night and Horn Jr. and I'm like, man, that's what the U needs. You got to get one of those kind of cats. We haven't had a Michael Irvin and a Perriman and a Moss and we haven't had an Andre Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't know if another Andre Johnson will ever walk through the doors, but you know what I'm saying? We haven't had that great receiver come
Right.
through the door. And last night I'm watching Colorado, and Shador has got two fantastic receivers making play after play. That's the winning. The W will bring those kinds of recruits.
Yeah, and those are the kids that are going to be at this game. You got some big time 2025 guys that are committed elsewhere. DJ Pickett, who's a 5-star cornerback, who's committed to LSU. He picked LSU over Miami and Oregon, but he's going to Florida to go watch this game. Right? He hasn't signed on the dotted line yet. Dallas Wilson, a wide receiver, another top 100 recruit who's committed to Oregon. He lives in the Tampa area. He's been committed to Oregon for a really long time. But he's going to this game because why? He wants to see if Miami's for real. He wants to see, is Cam Ward the real deal? Is this offense the real deal? Can Mario win in a tough environment? 2026 kids, Calvin Russell, who's a 5-star out of Miami Northwestern, probably the best receiver in the city. He will be in Gainesville for this game. Derek Cooper.
Right. We need it, bro. We need it. We need
All of
it.
these guys, Jabari Brady, all legit studs that are going to be in Gainesville to watch this game. So when you talk about what happens with a kid and do they believe in your program in year 3, you need wins like this.
And you Mario, no, don't get in your way of, because you have an aggressive offensive coordinator by nature. Let him be aggressive, because if you have those recruits in the
Yeah.
stands and others watching on television nationally, show them that you're going to, hey, you know what? Show them the fun and gun in Gainesville.
show them what they used to do, right? With Spurrier.
Right, right.
Uh,
Show them the fun and gun in that. The Mertz kid is a smart conservative quarterback. He's not an
yeah.
aggressive quarterback by nature. He won't turn over the ball. Okay, so you're gonna have to force it out of him, but he's also not going to force the ball to give it to you either. You know what I'm saying? So this is kind of interesting. You're not going to have fun and gun for Florida. And I don't know if
Correct.
Miami has the weapons outside to be fun and gun, but somehow or another, man, we kind of need Cam Ward to ignite it, man. Do something, you know?
Yeah, I think just coming out and winning the game would be a statement for
Yeah.
Miami. Whether or not Ward throws for a bunch of yards or they run for a bunch of yards with David Martinez, I think the biggest thing is put up or shut up time. And Billy Napier's lost 5 games in a row. He's 11-14. Mario is 12-13. Mario loses this game. He's got the same record as Billy Napier, and he's got a head-to-head loss to Billy Napier, who plays a much tougher schedule.
All right. So listen, a seafood pasta at the Big Cheese is absolutely delicious. I've had it many, many times because I do love the seafood pasta there. What's also delicious is the facilities now at the
Mm-hmm.
Case. That is no longer an issue, correct?
Yeah, I mean they've been upgrading the facilities for a while, but what they were talking about before was this 200-300 million dollar spaceship is the way that Mario Cristobal described it. They've put that on hold now. They're still upgrading the locker rooms. They're still upgrading the weight rooms. They're still taking that to the 21st century. But an entire building dedicated to just football, all the stuff that we saw photos of and renderings of and all that stuff, that's on the back burner because the more important thing is the Jerry's and the Joes, paying for those guys, having one of the top payrolls in college football when it comes to NIL. That's a real thing. And On3 this week came out with their top 15 rankings for the strongest NIL programs in college football. Miami was number 5. And I will tell you, the fact that there's only a few schools in front of them. I think Ohio State, Tennessee, Texas, and Oregon are the only ones. The reason that's so important is we're playing a professional game of football now, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's college anymore. You're playing professional football.
They're semi-pros now.
Imagine if the NFL didn't have a salary cap. What would life be like?
Stephen Ross, yeah, baby. Yeah. Right. Mike Brown is screwed. You Cincinnati Bengals, you Chargers. You would have to even throw away that shirt of yours that you have of the Chargers.
That's true. I would. But the reality is Miami in college football being the 5th highest spender or being considered in the top 5 in terms of the strongest NILs puts you in a huge position because that makes you one of the 12 teams every single year that makes the playoffs, or it should. Right? Yeah. It should make you one of the contenders every single year to win a championship. So I think when we talk about NIL and we talk about recruiting, and that is more important than anything else. And you and I have had long discussions about this over the years. Until Miami starts spending money, they're not going to compete, right? And this was before NIL came out. You and I were talking about this in 15 and 16 and 17 and all that kind of stuff. And what happened? Now all of a sudden people are talking about Miami in a different way. Why? Because they spent money to buy players. And that ultimately is going to be the difference here. And I think you should be very encouraged if you're Miami. Regardless of what Cristobal does, he is bringing in talent and he is upgrading this roster. Yes, he has to win, but you can't win without the players. You just can't. Right, and Miami's NFL track record, I don't care what anybody says, because everybody, but they had good recruiting class. No, go look at the NFL track record and compare what's happened the last 20 years to when Miami was winning national championships.
But
not even close.
But to be fair, every breakthrough for a program, you have to overachieve in order to break that glass ceiling, because you're not going to have a full load of Georgia recruits until you get Kirby Smart and he breaks through that glass ceiling. And then all of a sudden, okay, now we're super elite. Now everybody lines up to come to us. Yeah, we were getting good players before. Now all of our players are great players. And that's kind of where has to get to.
Right.
So Mario is going to have to overachieve to a certain extent with what he has in order to get to the point where then he can achieve with, making it a lot easier for him, where he doesn't have to go crazy in recruiting because they're all knocking his door down to come over to sign with him. You know what I mean? And then that's when we've got things going down here.
Well, that's when you become a dynasty again.
That's when you become That's when you become that. But at one point, he's going to have to overachieve. And this season or next season, he has to find a way to overachieve and surprise some people, win the ACC, do something that really shocks. And then that's what then opens the floodgates for everything else. You got the NIL, you got the facilities, you're getting good recruits. Now you need to go get great recruits all across the line. And then, and that's it. Sky's the limits after that.
This is the year. He's got the quarterback. They've got the transfers. I mean, to me, I think you've seen enough of the ACC. Even last night, right? NC State was a team that everybody's thinking is going to contend. How did they look? I'm pretty sure I know what Clemson is going to look like against Georgia on Saturday. So this is your opportunity to really stake a claim as being the best team in the league this year.
Yep, that's it. I'm with you there, man. Don't forget, visit our friends at the Big Cheese, 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. Just a mile away from the University of Miami. So go check it out. For 40 years, they have had excellence when it comes to their food. The pastas shipped directly from Italy. So, they use the highest quality ingredients, family style servings. So you're going to love it. Go see all my guys out there, Gary and Billy. They do an awesome job there at the Big Cheese. Their employees have been there for 15, 20, 25 years. It's like a family. Just a great atmosphere there at the Big Cheese. And follow my man Manny at Manny_Navarro. And please subscribe to The Athletic. Manny, safe travels with Susan up there, my friend. We will talk tomorrow post-game. Hopefully we'll be talking, about a happy locker room, not a sad locker room. I am nervous, bro.
Listen, it's a 2.5 point spread. It's fair to feel that way. I think I told you I'm pretty confident Miami's going to win by 2 scores. That was my pick.
I hope so. I don't even have the balls to give the 2.5 points. I just don't even have the ball. I'm going to just leave it.
I get it.
I really need to see Mario cross that threshold. I really do. But
All right, we'll see. We'll see soon.
I'm sorry, Mario. I lost a little faith there on game days, but what can I tell you? All right, my brother. Be safe out there. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right, brother. Take care.
You got it. Thank you. There you go. The Big Cheese, NIL and recruiting report. Remember, tomorrow we will have our live Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report live from the locker room there in Gainesville with Manny Navarro. So join us. I game starts around 3:30. I put like 6:30, right? 3 hours. You think 3.5? Huh? You think I'm going on at 7? Okay. Well, whatever. But I put 6:30. It'll go right when the game ends. Right when the game ends. But then I run out of the line. I only have so much stuff I can type in. So I put guesstimated time 6:30. Anyway, go visit the Big Cheese and have some delicious food.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!